Alright, so basically here we're just going to review everything we've seen in the past few classes. I suggest you get this link above to go to startbootstrap.com. They have awesome templates to get you started with different solutions. This is definitely going to help us create a nicer looking admin interface. And then obviously it's going to give us the tables that we need and also the form elements that we need. Okay, so basically we'll be building an application, you could call, where you're going to use PHP to manage the data, insert and view from the database. Okay, so we're going to see also how to create the tables and the fields and essentially connect to the database using PHP and retrieve the values that you put on a form inside an HTML page and add them to the database. So first things first, we're going to download this, which I have already done, and we're going to extract this file and put it inside of our Dreamweaver application. We're then going to select this and make it a project by choosing the folder on the desktop in which it resides. Okay, I put mine on the desktop, basically wherever it is. This is the SB admin version 2. Okay, so pretty much once that's done, you'll see that everything that you've downloaded is there and ready to work. For instance, this is the blank page, so we can look at what it looks like. So it's kind of a boilerplate there, ready to get going with all the cool stuff that this template provides. So in order to use it with PHP, you learn a key thing is to be able to break down the parts and make them into a template. So I usually create the template folder, and then basically inside of this folder, actually now that I think about it, we could even name it templates, so it's kind of consistent with the Dreamweaver naming structure for the templates folder. And then we're going to start breaking these parts. So usually what I do is I start selecting pretty much everything that belongs in the head, and then I just cut it, and I'll create a new file, and then I'll call it header.php. Okay, inside of that file you don't need any kind of HTML, so you just take everything away and then you place this header.php. Now you can see this, if you just include it, every single page is going to have the same title. So what you want to do is you want to be able to, oh sorry, it seems like my keyboard went to French there. So you want to be able to echo the title variable, and the way it's going to work is that later on in your index.php you're going to be able to create that title variable and give it a value, and PHP is going to see that and place it right there. Now you can do that for any of the other files or any of the other properties that you would like. Example, if you'd be in a normal website, or if it wouldn't be a backend, you would probably want to modify like keywords attached to the page and maybe even some other things. So that's pretty good for the header.php. Now you notice I also took the ID wrapper just because it wraps everything. I felt like it doesn't need to be in the index, it just needs to wrap everything. So if I put the header on top and the footer below, then the footer its job is going to be to close the ID wrapper. So what I usually do now is I don't kind of go and continue with the flow here. I always kind of scroll down and make sure I have the part that ends this one. So you can see this template is very well done. There's a comment there showing us this is the div that closes the wrapper. And then these are the scripts required, plus the closing body tag and the closing HTML tag. So we'll just take all of these and create the footer.php. So new file, footer.php. And then we'll place that in here. So now gradually we're walking our way into creating a more sustainable admin, where we have the parts that are repeating. So basically if you see here there's a nav tag, this is because the whole framework here is HTML5 Bootstrap 3. So if you close this tag, you see basically everything in the nav bar is here. Then it seems to have another one. Now this says static side, so this one I guess is on the side, so you can close the tag using this button here, collapse tag. And then this last part, it says ID page wrapper, and then you see the row and the title of the page. And pretty much you can imagine that that's the most basic thing that you would need in your page to get going. So what we can do is we could simply make two files, one for the static top, one for the static side, okay, which are the sidebars. If we look at our template again, we can see this is the sidebar on the side, probably with the search as well, and then this is the one at the top. Okay, now before I split things up, my suggestion is always look at the things you'd be interested in changing. For instance, this particular demo doesn't necessarily want to be all that big of a template. What it wants to be able to do is to configure the title here, maybe put two links there, one to add, one to remove, and it doesn't necessarily need a lot of the extra stuff. So it would be fun if we could just create one page and be able to change that value and then change whichever links we want on that page. That would be nice. Or we could create a sidebar just for that page. That's another option. So basically, here's what we'll do. We'll create the sidebar for the top. We'll call it new file, and we'll just call it static top, or I guess top part would be good. Can't seem to type. All right, so this, and then we'll take the entire sidebar and then bring it into this file. Now we can extend the tags there, just kind of bring it closer there. We could see inside of this here we have a nav bar header with a button, and then this says that basically I could see these three icon bars, and I'm kind of used to the Bootstrap framework. I've played with it before. If you see here, if you scroll this and you bring it to, this is that button basically. Okay, so it turns into a mobile, fully responsive interface there. So you could even use this to manage content from your phone or tablet. So this is that button right here. Okay, so now the rest of the stuff here are some of the links. You could see, example, there are three major parts to this. Actually now there's four. So there's the messages with the John Smith inside, there's the tasks, there's the alerts, and then there's the kind of user profile tab there for the user. So basically what we can do is isolate these. We could also make them into their own separate files. So if you look at this here, we have the UL for the drop down messages. So if we collapse that, we can see it more clearly. Here we have the UL for the tasks. We could collapse the tag and we could see that part a bit more clearly. And we can do the same for the others. And this will give you kind of a better understanding of what's really going on within that sidebar. So we have one big UL here for all the links, which are these. That's one list. And then inside is another set of lists, which is this. So pretty useful to know. So we'll just save that. If we go back to our blank, we have another one. Actually, we maybe could have left that comment there just in case. It's always nice when it gets reassembled and you're going through. It's nice to see also that this is the closing nav for the top part. Now this is, we'll just do the same thing, but this is for the side. So new file, we'll call it sidebar.php, and we'll take this as well, and then we'll put it in here, extend it, and then again I always try to take a minute to get familiar with this. So I could see here I have dashboard, so this is the button there, and then I guess this is the search form. I could see there search. Okay, so I could collapse this and I could see all of these links basically form the navigation on the side there. One element that I'm still haven't found is that SB admin version 2. So I'm sure it was an overlook, but it belonged here right there. Okay, so if I didn't want to change any of the things above here, simply what I could do is do the same thing like we did in the header and say echo and then add something different. Now obviously if we say echo title, it's going to be the exact same thing as what we have in our title. So this could be something like app name. Okay, so this is an area where, because of that decision that I just made, I feel that there's a better way to craft the final page. But before I get too crazy about this, let me just finish this part that I've started. Let's create the index.php, put everything together, and let's see what it looks like. So now we're going to save this file as, and then now we're not going to go inside our template folder, we're going to stay at the root, and we're going to call this index.php. So now we should have a PHP file, and then this blank file just returns to whatever it used to be. Okay, I don't even have to do anything special. I haven't destroyed or saved this file during the breaking down process, so I can just now close it. So now the index.php. So basically you want to create a PHP tag as the first thing on the page. You do not want to echo any character or anything like that. And then basically this is going to be what I need to create the page, and then whatever footer or elements that need to go below are going to come here. So I want to include my header, so include, and then example templates / header.php. And the understanding of it is that wherever this line is the whole content that's inside that file. Now we're going to also include the other parts that go above the page wrapper. So we have the top and sidebar files. So top and sidebar. And we also have one file down below here, which is the footer.php. Now if we put all of this together, basically we should be able to see the exact same page as our blank. So let's do the test. We're going to upload everything to the remote server, and before we do that, it's going to say you need to have a remote server. So would you like to define one right now? So this is how you connect to an FTP server. You're going to want to access this part where you could see the servers. If you don't do it the way I just did, the way to get back to this screen, I have a shortcut for it. I just double click on the drop down and this is it. If not, the real path to it is sites, manage sites. And then basically this is all the sites that you manage, but the one that you want to manage, then you click edit, and there you can see that same screen again. Okay, so these are the ways you can access that. So now we're going to go to server, and then we're going to add a remote server. We can call it anything we want. Mine's actually a local server in the development here. I basically called it admin, or I think local.admin. Username is admin, and then we could just test this, and then it's successfully connected. It's at the root of this project, so we're just going to say save. And then if we want to use that little earth there to preview our site, then we need to check that testing box. So save. So it's going to be our remote server and our testing server at the same time. So now we're just going to upload everything. Are you sure you want to put the entire site? Yes. And it's uploaded. So now technically if we look at this, we should be able to see a functional page. So this will update the file. Obviously we've just uploaded everything, so everything's updated. Variable app name is not defined, so let's define those variables. So we have the title is equal to, and then we could put something special there. Example, right now we'll just say undefined, and then we also can create the app name. Did I put an underscore? Let's see. Yes, underscore app name, and then we'll just say undefined. Okay, so now we're pretty much back into this. Looks exactly the same as blank.php, well, almost the same apart from the undefined parts. But this is something that we can control, and look at how streamlined it is, which means now we can create many pages, and not have to worry about if we change a link, example, in the header, or if we start adding different links to different parts of our site that they don't match. So what we can do now is we can make our custom top and custom sidebar. Okay, so what we do now is we can go inside the templates, and we can, example, create a new folder. This is going to be an album management, so for albums, and then I can create a copy of the sidebar and a copy of the top and put them in there. So I'll just re-upload this to the server. Actually, I should have modified them first probably. And then I'm going to modify this as well. This is the template for albums, so albums/top, and then albums/sidebar. And then pretty much from there on, I can go inside top and start making the changes that I want, which means now I don't necessarily need to echo the app name like the same. And then I don't need all of this, so I can just take it all away. I can leave the comment there to remember that's where it used to be. I can do the same for the other sidebar. Basically, one thing that you have to observe when you look at these frameworks is they do things and they do them on purpose. For instance, they didn't just plan to show us the charts, they also planned to show us that they had this icon available. And so the way I see it is that I could use this icon to talk about the list of albums, and I could use this icon to talk about the form to add the albums. So I'm interested in table and I'm interested in forms. Everything else I'm not interested. So I'll take this li out. This is for the charts. Then I have the tables and the forms, and then pretty much everything else till the end I'm not interested. So now here for the tables, I'm going to say I want to browse and view my albums, and then example here I want to insert, and then this dashboard again, I don't need that. And then we have the search bar up here. We could probably just leave it because it looks nice, and then later on we can make something where we can search for albums. That would be nice. So we can upload these two files, and then we can upload our index. So you can use this and then say put. And if we look at this, now we have an admin interface ready to start building the blocks that we want. So the next part is going to be now to look at how we create the database and how we'll integrate this into the UI that we have here. Okay,